Good morning, and welcome to Biz Talks, courtesy of Bizna Kenya, and of course, MC Moments. And I'm so glad that we are here and that we have started this particular conversation. So good for you, the entrepreneur, the business person, even the ones who are aspiring to become, business people. Because, everybody sometimes says you have to always think of one or two ways of making an income. And guess what? How best to start this particular conversation than to have a mentor who can come and help us just to know, where do we put our money in 2021? I know that's a question that probably you've asked yourself because, we're coming from a year that many have said it was unprecedented. So how do we look at 2021? And of course, thank you so much for joining us in. And if you're watching us on Facebook, kindly click that button on the share button so that at least many other people can at least get to understand and flow in this conversation and get to learn as well. So Rina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And first of all, because it's in the morning, I want to serve you some drink here. I don't know whether you like it with milk or water. How would you like it?
I can see a lemon twist here, so I'll have just water. Thank you.
Just water, right?
Yes,
okay.
I didn't have breakfast.
Good enough. How was your morning? Did you find some traffic on your way?
No, none. It was quite easy to get here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can tell the economy is back, fully back, because everybody is now. I met some traffic and I could tell everybody's fully back, schools have opened. And I think this is good news, especially for the business people.
Yes. It's amazing how much the schools opening really impacts the economy positively. There's so many businesses that are tied to schools.
Okay.
I mean, when you think about, books.
Booksellers.
Yes, transport. Because there's more people traveling from one place to another.
Yeah.
The clubs that they do, whether it's all the different clubs they do, the sports and all the different things that they have in schools. I mean, it supports a lot of other small businesses, which is, it's really good that schools have opened. And one of the fantastic things about it is I haven't heard of any COVID cases in schools. I don't know if it's that everyone's silent about it.
I think there's something about kids.
Yeah.
Because even in terms of mentioning of cases, rarely did I hear big numbers when it comes to children. So I don't know whether maybe the medics needs to tell us whether there's something special about the kids, whether they have some genes that are more protective. I don't know. I must confess that I'm naive when it comes to those matters of how kids are really not affected.
Yeah, but also God's protection, which is awesome.
That's true. And of course, for the parents, I'm sure this is a relief for them as well, in a way. Some parents were complaining they stayed with the kids for so long, and others were so happy that, hey, my kids are around.
Yeah.
Good. It's good to see you and good to have you. Of course, there are many viewers who are watching and are saying, who is Rina? Who is Rina Hicks? And we can tell, yes, from the title, she's an investment banker and all that. But would you care to introduce yourself? And please don't mince anything. Just say who you are, because I know there are very new viewers who are watching us and asking.
Yeah. So I am an investment banker. What that really means is that I help companies raise capital. I also help individuals find great investment opportunities. Okay. And I'm also an entrepreneur and a personal finance enthusiast.
Okay.
Yes, very enthusiastic about helping people figure out how to become financially free and to thrive where their finances are concerned.
Wow, I like that. And of course, it's good to know that you're also an author.
Yes, I'm an author. I'm a coach as well. I'm a certified professional coach, which means that I work with people to help them to move from one level to the next in their personal, professional lives.
Okay. Well, I must confess that I'm a fan of Rina, and I have followed you in your channels as well, and the education forums you've given to people, even your live sessions before.
Yes.
I mean, are amazing, and
thank you.
In case you would want to really learn a lot, I advise you to follow Rina Hicks on MoneyWise. That's the brand, right?
Yes, MoneyWise with Rina Hicks on YouTube, on Facebook as well. We're on Instagram, but mostly on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, great to have you. So our subject today is what to do with our money, especially in 2021.
Yes.
And I just had thought we could start with, first of all, getting to know you. But now that you've spoken about your brand, I would want to ask the question, what's the purpose behind the brand MoneyWise?
Okay.
What do you seek to do on this earth?
So I think the core purpose is to create nations within Africa of financially secure families. really all that is getting us to a level where we move from holding this begging bowl as a continent to being lenders of other nations. And that will require us to have a perception of I can do this, I can understand this, I can save money for my family. I'm the solution to my own challenges financially. And not only that, but the government will not look to other nations to lend us money for development, for infrastructure, for growth, but the nation itself and the people of Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania and Rwanda can actually finance the government budget and the government needs because of the high level of savings, which is what happens in Western countries. Western countries are able to fund themselves and other countries as well. You know, so that's my desire, to have financially secure families within the nations of Africa.
Wow, I like that. And you know what, one of the questions is the brand name in itself, Moneywise, comes from a place of there is some wisdom that is needed. And that also means then there are some, I don't know whether to call them stupid or foolish mistakes that people can make when it comes to money. Do you want to expound on that? What have you observed? Is it that people have not really taken in the element of learning how to work with your money?
So that's, I mean, that's an interesting question, but you know, the observation started with myself. I'm the one who really struggled with managing finances for a very long time. And because of that, I realized I'm actually quite foolish where money is concerned. And because of the mistakes that I made all the way back when I was in university, not being able to manage my money well, not understanding that I need to find income sources and not spend all my money, all the way to even when I started working within a stockbroking firm, advising people about what to buy and how to invest, and I myself wasn't doing that. And investing my money as well in ventures that were not very good, losing my money in that process. I actually realized there's actually certain principles about the management of money that I need to understand. And I set off on a journey seeking to understand for myself. And then as I did that, I realized it's not just me who doesn't know how to make these decisions. It's not just me who's struggling to evaluate the opportunities. It's not just me who even doesn't understand everything. There's many others around us. And as I looked to find out information from different places, I realized the content that's out there is mainly about markets and opportunities that I couldn't relate with. You know, 401ks and Roth IRAs and superannuations and things like that from other countries that people understand, and it's automatic. You start working and people set up all these different pension schemes and they invest their money in ETFs and all these different opportunities that we didn't have at the time. And I was like, okay, wait, hang on. Me here in Kenya or in East Africa, what options are available for me? How do I save? If I want to save for short term, where do I put my money? And it set me off on a journey. And that's how Moneywise, the book, was born. And so I decided to write content initially just for myself. And I started writing for a magazine, but decided to put all these articles together into a book, which can help somebody within the context of this continent know where to put their money and how it all works and where to begin when you want to make financial decisions and investment decisions.
Wow, that's interesting. And I hope, and I'm sure some viewers are saying, my goodness, this is the first time I'm hearing about this brand and the book and all. And maybe it would be good to let them know that it's possible to get a copy, is it?
It is. Actually, I have a copy in my handbag.
We're going to grab it and show them. We're going to grab it, no worries.
Yes, I brought a copy as well. I mean, it's only 1,000 shillings. And with the book, whether you are 15 years old or 50, there's something for you in there. In fact, I remember the publisher who helped me to put it together read the book and he said, oh my goodness, you know, he was in his early 50s. And he said, I did not know this stuff. And because of reading it and helping me with it, because he read it many times over, as you can imagine, in the process of writing, he actually set up certain investment accounts that he didn't have before. And so it doesn't matter what age you are. I use very simple concepts and explain things using stories and examples. So it's a very light read. A lot of people, that's the feedback they give me. Within 3 hours, I was done reading it. And it's so amazing because it was very light as a read.
Important. Somebody said that a lot of people will remain ignorant if they never grabbed a book. So it is important for you to at least grab something. Now, let's get into a bit of the matter because we have some business people watching us Others are aspiring business people, even others are employed, and others have some spare income and would wonder what to do with it. But before I jump in there, let's just address the business people, because last year, honestly speaking, as I said at the beginning, it was unprecedented. And people lost money, some businesses closed, others had to downgrade, and some are still trying to get back on their feet, and taxes are back. And you know, I don't know whether there's some key lessons as a coach that you took from 2020 now to 2021 that you'd like to share before now we talk about where are we going to take the money. Are there some key lessons that you'd like to share?
I think a lot of us were caught flat-footed. You know, it was so
Nobody
sudden.
expected this.
It was like, and in an instant.
I know.
You're working from home. In an instant, you have no job. In an instant, I mean, it was so shocking for all of us. I remember in April being in a state of shock and not even realizing I'm in a state of shock. I couldn't function. I'm like, okay, so what does this even mean? So some of the things and the lessons that I would apply so that then we know, or I know what to do with my money in 2021 is, first of all, I must have cash reserves.
Okay. Cash reserves.
Cash reserves.
Important.
This thing of Ati, Jogona has come and has told me that there's land in Kitengela and I'll put all my money in it. Well, you could have potentially done that already. You must have cash. Why? For emergencies and also for opportunities, what we call for liquidity, so that when an opportunity arises, you can bust a move, as we call it.
Is that like an emergency account, or is it different?
So yeah, I mean, there's an emergency fund that you can create, and so you can save money into what we call a money market fund. And a money market fund is an investment account that you open with an asset manager. And there's many of them. ICA, there's Britam, there's Old Mutual, there's CIC, there's Sanlam, there's many of them. And so these guys offer not an insurance product, it's money market funds. So you invest your money there, and literally whenever you want your money back, you just give them 2 to 3 days notice,
and they will give you back.
Yes, they wire the money, no questions asked. They wire the money back, and on average you're making 9 to 10% per annum, which is great. It's much better than your bank account, which you're probably doing 6%
the money just sits
or under.
there.
Yes,
absolutely.
And so you're beating inflation in terms of the return you're getting, and so that's an example of a place you could potentially invest your money.
Absolutely.
So, and other places such like that where you can save your money for an emergency.
Could I actually just pop in on that and say it's actually a safe place for people who are employed, the 8 to 5 who can't even find time to really, do a side hustle, if I may use that word. And so you want your money to grow somewhere without really much of a hassle. Is that a safe way to say it?
It's one of the places.
It's one of the places. Good.
But 9% is not going to take you very far.
I know.
But the point is, it's a great place to park money, even as you look for different investment opportunities that can potentially give you more. And it's also a great place to save and build up a savings for a certain project. There are guys who want to get married this year, and they have a budget of, say, 1 million shillings. So, that's a great place to park money where you're not going to lose your principal, but you can continue to invest the money. So that was one, cash reserves. Cash reserves are very, very important for emergencies and for liquidity or for money for helping you to bust a move, whether that's in your business or in any other opportunity that you find. I think number 2 is we need to pay out debt. Pay off or pay down our debt. If you have a credit card loan,
pay debt.
Do you know how much you're paying in interest?
No.
On average, 40% per annum.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you.
40%?
Yes. In fact, most of them even say 47%. The point is this. You have no business, Maina, investing in an opportunity that's giving you 10% per annum if you have a credit card.
That is taking a whooping 40%, honestly.
It doesn't make sense.
That's reverse.
So if you have credit card loans, mobile loans, and loans from MFIs that, in the 20% range and above, you're better off paying down debt. And imagine that's an investment. Paying down the debt will reduce the amount or the costs that you're paying towards the debt, and so we'll give you an opportunity to then be able to invest and grow your money. So paying down debt is so necessary. Don't push it. If you can pay it, please pay it, and prioritize paying it. Because the truth is, Maina, 2021, really what has changed fundamentally? I think it's really our mindsets. Corona is still here.
Wow.
We have countries that are still in lockdown. There's countries that opened up, sent children to school, and then what happened?
They had to.
You know, I don't know which other virus came that it has morphed into mutations happened and lockdowns have happened. So we could have another lockdown. We don't know.
We don't know. That's true.
And so because we don't know, we need to take precautions.
Yeah.
And so cash reserves, liquidity, and for emergencies, and then secondly, pay down your debt. Thirdly, we need to start thinking about retirement. If we haven't already.
Wow.
Retirement savings are so key. So, I mean, a lot of people just think, yeah, I'll retire. Somehow, somewhere, somebody's going to take care of my retirement. I'll get money somehow. You know, my dad will give me the land, or my uncle will, whatever. The case is, we have to think about retirement and saving specifically towards that. And a good way for those who are employed or those who have a business and a consistent income is to set up a pension account. Okay. Right?
So let me ask you, sorry, I know I'm cutting you short on this. NSSF is not enough?
Ooh-wee. How much do you pay towards NSSF?
Some 200 bob something, I don't know.
I mean, it's so tiny. You'll end up with like 650,000 when you're retiring. Like, does that even make sense? Or $1 million at the highest?
I know.
How do you retire with $1 million? What are you going to do? Within a few months, the money is going to be finished.
For 20 years plus.
And you have potentially, if you retire at 60, you could live until 95.
You're right.
Or 100. What are you going to do for those 35 to 40 years?
It's very minute.
I mean, you work for 40 years to finance, is it 40 years? 20 to about 60?
I know, yeah.
Yeah? To finance another half of your life.
Yeah.
We really must think about life after we retire. And sometimes it's not that you might not have a job and you have a business, and that's great, but you can't work, particularly for those who are employed and thinking about going into business. Please recognize that your income that you're receiving right now is not enough to support your after working period.
Wow.
We're living longer, and then after that, you know, you have health issues, and your spending is more. I mean, please, we have to think about retirement savings, and so that's something we must begin to do very critically. So there's different ways you can work towards creating that pension, or rather the retirement savings account. There's different ways you can do it, and we're happy to guide people through it. But the point is that it must be something that you start to do if you haven't started yet. And if you did it before and you're contributing very little, I think you need to start contributing a bit more towards that, or at least thinking about investments that will help you during retirement,
during that time,
by providing you with a passive income stream, right?
Because it's true, it's evident, there are people who you see retire and all of a sudden the life they were living when they were employed changes drastically. Some to the positive because they thought about retirement, and others it's now kids laden with a lot of burden to support them, and you wonder, why didn't you, prepare for this in advance? Somebody say this, and I hope you can affirm this, that the first day you receive your paycheck should be the first day you start thinking about your retirement.
Yes.
Any comment on that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, that's fantastic advice, because at the age of 20, you're able to grow your income with just very little money. I mean, not grow your income, but grow your savings with very little money. I mean, if you saved 2,000 shillings every month at the age of 20, by the age of, I think I did this calculation some time back and I can't quite remember the figures, but it came to about 7.4 million at the age of 65 with just 2,000 shillings.
Wow.
If you waited 10 years, you'll need to put double or 1.5 to double that amount to be able to get to that same place. So the earlier you begin, because of the power of compound interest, the better it is for you.
Great.
Yeah.
Now,
so there's more, but
there's more that we can talk about. I know retirement is a whole subject.
That you can do.
Absolutely.
I think the last thing I will say is you need to invest. All right? You need to invest in 2021.
Yes.
You cannot just, be like, oh, let me wait and see. This is going to be creating an opportunity for you to put your money away in very good investment opportunities. Incidentally, we are still in a season of a recession, and we're going into an electioneering period as a country. Right?
Tricky
we have
time.
elections coming in 2022. So it's going to be a tricky 2 to 3 years. But in tricky seasons, that's when you find amazing investment opportunities. So start looking out for them and invest slowly. You have two years that you can continue to invest. Okay, the last one, I've just remembered.
It's okay.
Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that because the world is changing so fast, we can't, you don't know how long you'll have your job for, right?
Yeah.
If you're employed. You don't know how long your business will continue to exist. It might be disrupted.
Yeah.
So you need to continue to invest in your knowledge and skills to be able to offer better products, to be able to offer better service.
Okay.
Whatever it is that you're doing, increase your skills so that if you did lose that job, you can transition into another one fairly quickly, or even be able to learn how to invest.
Okay.
Right?
All
So
right.
if you don't know how to invest, take this opportunity to invest in yourself, to pay for an investment course,
Okay.
to learn how to invest so that you ace the game and create.
There is no
higher-
end to learning. That's
No,
what you're saying.
There's no end to learning. Develop
Wow.
and build yourself so that then you're able to grow as a person. That's for 2021.
All right, so much to talk about, viewers, and I can tell you, I'm taking notes as well. Cash reserves, pay your debts, retirement, and all that. And this particular show is not just for a conversation between me and Rina or our guest. It's also as well for you to contribute, and I want to nudge you to at least tell us any lesson that you took over from 2020, 2021. Is there something that you're learning even as we are speaking? And do you have any question? Because we have the coach in the house and you want to utilize the time that we have here. Now, Rina,
Yes.
you've mentioned something about investing, and even you've spoken about some of the things we need to think about. And before I pop into that, because I want to ask you now, where do we take our money? There's a question of there's so many scrupulous people who are stealing people's money out there in the name of investments. I don't want to mention a few, but maybe probably you might, because maybe you have seen them more. But maybe in principle, you could advise our viewers, what are some of the things to check so that at least you know that you're dealing with a genuine platform that will make your money, because there's so many outside there, shouting aloud in the platforms and all that, so that before we now take our money, we at least have a way of looking and saying, this is a wise place, this is a nice place, or a safe place to put my money.
Yeah. So first of all, even before you get to investing that money, there's a certain framework that you need to sort of think about your money.
Okay.
Because the mistake we make is we hear of investment opportunities and we're like, that sounds like such a great opportunity. I have 800K in my account, let me invest it there. But the question is, do you already have that safety net?
Yeah.
Do you have an emergency fund in place? Do you have health insurance? If things go haywire, do you have money to be able to meet your basic needs? Do you? If you do, then the question is, okay, perhaps I can take some risk.
Yeah.
So first you check yourself and see what status am I in. If things don't work out, do I have money enough to help me survive for the next 6 months before I start taking huge risk? Because the reality is when somebody promises you high returns, there's usually a trade-off. And the trade-off is the higher the returns that you're promised, most likely the higher the risk you are taking.
Yeah.
Do you have the ability to take that risk, given how you've set yourself up for any emergency or any eventuality from taking place? So that's the first place to start.
Okay.
Then if you're, I have an emergency fund, my family is going to be taken care of, I have health insurance, I have a pension, I have da-da-da. Now I want to take risk, okay?
Yeah.
So how much money can you put aside that even if you lost, it's okay?
You'll still be fine.
You'll still be fine.
Okay.
Okay, so then you decide, okay, that's 200,000. I'm willing to invest 200,000 or 250,000 towards this venture. If I lose it, it's okay. If I make money, fantastic. Now, then you start evaluating the opportunity deeper. Okay, so who are these people? Are they licensed by any regulator? What track record have they had before? Who is their management and what's their history? What have they done before? What is the product that you're investing in? Is it stocks? Is it foreign currency? Is it a multi-level marketing scheme? Is it gold? What is it, right? And how does that investment product work? What are the risks that are involved? When am I likely to get my money? What happens if I cannot continue to pay into it? Or what happens if I need my money suddenly?
True that.
What are the costs? Fees are very, very important. So those are some of the things that you ask yourself before you go into the investment opportunity.
Okay.
Some red flags is if they offer you a return that is extremely high. And extremely high means over 18%.
Wow. Okay.
If you hear 15, 18% and above, so in the 20s and the 30s, and I'll double your money.
Yeah.
Then those are red flags.
You want to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, for somebody to give you that return, what are they making themselves at the end of the day?
Okay.
So, I think it's very key to start there.
Yeah.
What's the return they're offering me? What's the risk I am taking? What's the track record these guys have had? And if I lost my money, can I survive?
Okay. I think those are very fundamental questions that I think these are homework. Someone needs to sit down, plan themselves first with their money before they think of where to take it.
That's so true, Maina. And the truth is, what happens is that we're lazy. And I think as human beings, we're inherently lazy. We are. And so what happens? I'll use the name Jogona again. Jogona comes, he works for XYZ, he's an agent.
Okay.
So maybe an insurance agent.
Yeah.
Jogona needs to make his salo at the end of the month.
The commission thing and the salo, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And his goal is what?
To sell this
to
thing,
sell,
right?
so that he has an income at the end of the month. Maina is like, I need an investment opportunity. Jogona comes, I can tell you what that one is. I'll tell you. In fact, if you put this money, there's a product and a policy. If you put the money and save your money every month, in fact, if you give me 20,000 every month for the next 20 years, you'll make good money, my friend. That time you are looking for perhaps something for, I don't know, maybe for your children's education, or maybe not that, but perhaps you're not looking for insurance, let me say. You're looking to save towards retirement, for example. You're not looking to invest that money in something that will have or be pulled down by costs such as insurance. You're not looking for an insurance product. But this guy's aim is to sell you an insurance product because he gets more commissions. And so this thing just drives me nuts, because what ends up happening, every single Kenyan and their cousin have an insurance product, not because they needed it, but because somebody sold and pushed it to them. It's not a bad product, but it doesn't serve the need they have. And that's why I said the beginning is, what need do you have and what need do you need sorted out? Before you look for the investment opportunity. And if you find the investment opportunity, first look at where am I at and what does this investment opportunity serve?
So Rina, let me just cut you short right now, because I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of this. I have had a, let's use the same word, I hope there's no Njuguna watching and we're saying we're using Njuguna, it's just an example. I have had a Njuguna moment where I signed up because this person was family. And you just want to support. Most of them are family, you know, they are starting their hustle, so you just sign up something up. Lucky enough, at least it wasn't a loss of money. I am happy that I did that. But at first, when I was getting in, it was because this is family. And so many people have been duped into just signing up stuff because they either did it emotionally, just to support somebody without really thinking. And so the question is this to you. Maybe it's a statement that you need to confirm that before you sign up for any insurance policy that you're being sold to, you need to do a research or sit down with somebody who understands this to help you know that this is worth it and this is not worth it based on your needs assessment.
Absolutely.
That's what you said, right? Wow.
And not just sign up with that person. Find out what the other 5 insurance companies in the market offer. And am I getting a good deal from these guys?
Wow.
What are the terms of these other guys? What happens if I can't continue to pay? What happens if I lost my job? Those are questions you must ask.
You're right. You're right.
What happens if I change my mind halfway? Do I lose my money? Did you know, Maina, that with life insurance policies or endowment policies, like education policies, if you pay for 2 years, or less, let me say less than 3 years, consistently, and it does not get to 3 years, and you stop paying for whatever reason, you lose all your money.
Is gone.
Now you've signed up for this thing, you have no idea that this was what happened, but you lost your job, you can't pay, and you've not talked to the insurance company. You will lose
That's so bad.
all your money.
Hard-earned cash gone like that. So I want us to jump into this conversation, my goodness, and time is really going. There's so many comments, and I appreciate all the viewers who are sending in your comments and questions. I would really want to actually specifically look into the questions.
Okay.
So I want to just check a few here right now because of what we've spoken about so far. Before now, let me call it part 2. We jump into where do you take now the money if hopefully you have done all that you need to do. And I can tell a lot of us and a lot of our viewers, especially myself as well. I need to sit down and do that assignment. So thanks for all these comments. Let me just take a few here. I think Faith Boy and Winnie and is really tuning in and saying thank you so much for the insights you're giving us. Somebody asked, how do they get your book? I mean, that's a quick answer you can give right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get, imagine I need to cram this phone number.
Yes.
But you can get the book, what you do.
Yes.
You can get the book at Textbook Center or call us. Can I just check the number on my phone?
Yeah,
so that
you can. You can do that right away.
You can call us, and if Alice, you're watching, just post the number on the timeline as people are. So our phone number, you can send us a WhatsApp message or call us on 011 244 0122. I'll say it again. 011 244 0122. So you can WhatsApp us on that number, or you can call us and we'll be able to get the book to you. You can also find it at Textbook Center. It's also on Amazon. It's also on Kindle. If somebody is out of the country and they want a copy, you can do that on Amazon or on Kindle as well.
Great, there you have it. Somebody asked this, entrepreneurs hardly have enough to run businesses. This is, and so the question is, how do you save under such circumstances? It's difficult times.
Yeah, it's difficult times.
Yeah.
It's difficult times. I recognize that, and I recognize the fact that, I mean, in the season that we're in, when your income has gone down significantly, you really don't have enough to save. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, what can I do to create additional income? So one of the things I had said for 2021, I didn't mention this to you, but one of the things we must do, Minor, is find alternative income streams. If this business is not working the way it was before, I don't have to be stuck on it forever. I can still continue to do what I can with it, but how can I generate an additional income stream? For example, if I am a good writer, I can start perhaps blogging to help people understand a certain subject, or I write really well and I have stories. I can start blogging and get and earn advertising revenue. I could also perhaps write music, and maybe I can sing really well. And I can go to Skiza Tunes and tell them, here's a tune that guys can download for their phone, and I earn 30% on my tune.
And the guys were making a lot of money on that.
Absolutely. There's somebody I know who was making $1 million a month.
Wow.
Biggest Kenyan artist. $1 million a month. Went down, I think, to 800,000 a month from Skiza Tunes. I mean, and some of those Skiza Tunes are not necessarily songs. It's our Heavenly Father. You have a nice voice. You just vibe. I mean, you remember George Kagwe?
Yes.
And the M-Pesa lady?
Oh, yeah.
He has a Skiza tune.
He has a
Skiza tune. So you can find different ways to earn additional income. So the key thing is, what can I do? What am I talented in? What is in my hand right now that I can use to be able to earn that additional income? Is it training? Is it tutoring? A lot of people have chosen to homeschool their kids, but need support through a tutor. Perhaps you can tutor children, but the key thing is find additional income. And through that additional income, then you can find money to save. The key to being able to do well where saving and investing is concerned is have an income, because without an income, really, there's not much we can do.
You're right.
But there's options.
Let's answer a final question, then get into the money now part. Winnie Hugo asks, any referral on where to get the right investment course? And before you jump into that, I must say that Bizna Kenya right here at Bizna Kenya, there are several platforms and things that you can follow up, because there's an entrepreneurship forum to help you, mentor you, and do all that. Rina, I know you have something as well in the book.
I have been something. I have something. In fact, I'm so excited about that question. Investment course. I'm almost doing a kajig. The reason is, I'm so sorry, guys. We've taken a long time for those who follow MoneyWise. But imagine now, for real, we are done. We're done. We're launching an investment program, an investment course on how to invest and what the investment options are available to you, how to take advantage of them, where to begin, how to make that decision. And we really are about helping you take control of your financial freedom by knowing where to invest your money, at what point, how to structure investments into your portfolio to ensure that you are financially free.
Wow.
So we are actually launching this program on the 25th of March. 25th of March, we open our doors.
A few days from now.
Yes, it's literally a month and a half from now. And we're actually taking, we already have quite a number of people on our wait list,
Yes.
and we're taking more. And so I want to encourage everybody who wants to know how to invest their money, where to start, how do I even begin, is to send us an email, sema@moneywise.co.ke.
All right.
We have all the information ready, and we'll be sending that out in the next week or so
Okay.
to all those who've registered, not registered, but really been on the wait list by telling us that they're interested. So in terms of costs, how long it's going to take you, and how it's going to work. I think what's brilliant about this course, it's online, yes,
Yeah.
but every week I shall meet with those people who are on the course, not one-on-one, but on a call,
Okay.
on virtually, to answer any questions that they may have from the program that they're experiencing. I mean,
Noted.
we use case studies, we have downloadables, we have exercises for them to do. It's very, very practical, and it's a fantastic course. I've been working on this minor for over a year.
Hey,
Eh?
this must be loaded now.
I'm telling you, and I've
Yeah.
partnered with some fantastic people called Africa's Pocket.
Okay.
And anyway, in the next few days,
Okay.
we shall start seeing communication around that. So I'm
All
really
right.
excited about it. Thank you for that question.
That's a
There is
loaded
course.
question there.
There is a course, and I've taken so long to answer that question. But yes, there's a course that is tailored to Africans
All right.
that we have, yes.
There you have it, your question answered. Now, I know so many people watching are saying, when are they getting to this question? And so, Rina, we have to still milk some of your wisdom out. And where do we take our money? I'm going to just throw it to you that way.
Yeah.
Where do we take our money? Assuming that now we have done all the homework that you've talked about. Somebody already has that spare money,
Yeah.
where he's saying, if I lose this, at least I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I have already put my house in order.
Yeah.
What are the investment opportunities that we can have 2021?
Yeah.
Especially where I would lose money because
Everything has a risk, Maina.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It's a good place to
there's
start.
no such thing
Okay.
that we're okay. So yeah, I mean, there's low risk and there's high risk.
Yeah.
But when you wake up in the morning and get out of your house,
Yeah.
there's risk, right? So first you have to understand that for me to make money, I have to take a risk.
Yeah.
So where should you be putting your money? There's several areas. You know, there's a stock market, and when I say the stock market here, I don't just mean Kenya.
Okay.
The opportunities are available globally, right? So there's a Kenyan Securities Exchange, of course,
Yeah.
where there's opportunities that are there, and especially now and in the next 2 years, as I mentioned, as we go into an electioneering and politicking season, you'll find that there's opportunities in companies that have potential for growth, but their prices are really low. So the stock market is one, and not just in Kenya. I mean, if you want to invest in the US, for example, you can.
Yeah.
At FIDA, we are making it possible for people who want to invest in the stock market in the US, for example,
Yeah.
to be able to do that. You want to buy an ETF in biotechnology, you can do that. And biotech, by the way, is one of the areas that I think will do really well in 2021.
Wow.
There's areas in tech generally, even if it's just as S&P 500 that you want to buy,
Yeah.
we can help you to do that.
Okay.
So there's stocks,
Yeah.
there's treasury bonds, Maina.
Yeah.
Do you know yesterday?
Somebody said those are very safe places. but
They
anyway,
are
go
very
ahead.
safe. The
Yeah.
safest you will find.
Okay.
Treasury bonds and treasury bills are the safest you will find. And they're issued by the government or any government wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
In Kenya, they're issued by the Central Bank of Kenya. Now, we were doing some math the other day with somebody who was saying he bought a real estate property at 6.8 million and he's earning 30,000 a month. And he looked at that and he's like,
6.8 million.
it's going to take me
30.
18 years to get my money back.
I know.
Does it make sense?
You're old by then.
Yeah, okay, fine, I have this rental income coming, but how much money have I tied? I've tied 6.8 million
Yeah.
to generate 30,000. Imagine, I think I can do better.
Yeah.
And he decided to sell his property. Now, if you put that money in a bond,
Yeah.
like what we call the infrastructure bond that the government issues,
Yeah.
the last infrastructure bond, I think, if I remember correctly, was 11.9, was it 10.9% or 11%?
Yeah.
Tax free, Maina, tax free.
Tax free.
Yes.
11.
So every year,
That's good money.
right? Yeah.
And you're doing nothing.
And you're doing nothing. And every 6 months, there's 11%, well, half of that's
Yeah.
being sent, 5.5% being sent into your bank account, you're doing nothing. And
Yeah.
then you can reinvest that money
Yeah.
to grow it. You will earn more than you would in that scenario where you're earning 30,000 on 6.8 million having a house.
Yeah.
And the money is safe. You're not dealing with a tenant who's not paying you your money. You're not dealing with issues of, oh, the roof, I don't know, there's a leak where I need to fix this. And I'm not saying real estate is bad. I'm just saying it's an option that a lot of people don't look at.
Okay.
And we do help people open accounts with Central Bank and apply for bonds at Faida. So that's an option that is available. Whether you want to invest short term, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you can do that. You don't have to put your money for 12 years. You can invest short term or long term. And really, there's no cost to you.
Okay.
Right? There are no fees to invest in treasury bonds and treasury bills.
You just walk in and you start.
You just start. You just open an account, which is free to do, and you start. And it's a great place to park money for long term and earn a regular income. In fact, interest income is one of the passive income sources that you can get. And so in a year where there's a lot of uncertainty and, you know, we're not too sure whether things are going to work out or not, treasury bills and treasury bonds are a great place to put money. Money market funds are another place. Real estate, particularly real estate for medium to low income housing, that not too low, just medium to low, where rental income is like 12 to 20,000 shillings, is also a good place because there's a lot of demand for housing.
For cheap housing.
For cheap housing. So if you start working on a project today that's going to mature in another 2 years, in terms of completion, then by that time, you know, you should be able to get really good tenants and consistent tenants. But, you know, you want to have a range of, you know, up to about 50,000 shillings in rental income. Above that, then you start to struggle a little bit with getting consistent tenants. But within that range, you get good tenants because we don't have enough housing for home residential property.
You know, speaking of that, because now you've mentioned stocks, there's so many questions. I'm actually wondering how we're going to divide this time. Esther Matheng is asking, how does someone identify what stock to invest on for short term? I think she has just gotten your words. And she's asking, how do I identify this?
So if you're looking for short term, I'd say stocks are not your thing. Particularly now. We're in a very uncertain period. We don't know what's going to happen next in the next 6 months. We don't know whether we're going to have another lockdown soon. So if you're looking to invest in stocks, please note that you need to be having a long-term view. You need to have a long-term view, at least 3 to 5 years if you're investing in stocks. Please, again, if you're short-term, which is less than 6 months, please don't invest in stocks. You will be disappointed. You could make money. You could, but the likelihood is slim. And then it's now you start playing another game, which is not investing.
Let me take a question from the Jacinta Munyingula on YouTube. She's asking this, between a money market and investing in treasury bills, which is better? I know, because you've mentioned all these options.
So that's a fantastic question. So money market funds bring in an element of risk. Because you're investing in an asset management company that something could go wrong. Obviously, you know, most of these companies...
Because they also invest in that money and something could go wrong.
So for example, they invest in cash and near cash opportunities. And some of those opportunities are certificates of deposits or deposits with banks. And so God forbid that bank they've invested in goes under. Then what happens? I remember some years ago, there was a company in the money market space that invested in a certain commercial paper that was not paid because that company went under.
I saw some stories. We don't want to mention.
And so then there were people who bought that money market fund, and that company they invested in went under, which means that commercial paper they had invested in was not paid. And so what happens then? Either your money is not paid on time, or you don't get 100% of your money, and so then it becomes a problem. So there's an element of risk with money market funds. And so with money market funds, you want to invest in very solid, large asset management companies where possible. Now, with treasury bills, I don't say zero risk, but the risk is the lowest you will find.
So it's the safest place.
It's the safest place. So if you're looking for safest, your treasury bill option is good. But then it also translates to the return that you get. So you will get 7%, whereas with money markets, you will get higher, 9%, because of that element of risk.
By the way, it's good to point out, because I'm sure some people may ask, where do you even get these things?
Where do you get them?
We had a chat with you some time back, and you said, I think it's the Business Daily that...
So I find like Business Daily doesn't list all of them. The Nation does a better job of it. On the Nation, in the business pages, if you just go, you'll see, if you scroll, I'm so used to using a computer. If you turn the pages, I mean, like, you don't have to buy the newspaper. You can go to a newspaper vendor or your boss or you know, a colleague. You know, just go to the business section. There's a page dedicated to financial assets.
Okay.
So you'll see stocks, you'll see where the forex rates are. There's a section on unit trusts, and there's one on money market funds. There's a whole list of all the options available, who they are, the average, the daily yield, the annual effective yield, and you'll be able to compare them based on their returns. But your research should not end there. Yeah, your research should not end there. It should be, let me get into it and also speak with them and understand where do they invest their money, what sort of return have they had in the last 2 years, how big is their fund, how big is their fund? Like market share is important.
The time span, the maturity, all that.
Their fees.
I have sat under you, so I have gotten to know a lot of things. Let's get into another question from Coach Collins Othiambo. Hello, Coach. So he says this, what's the best way to save for retirement in Kenya? And as a self-history, I don't believe we can get cash there. I think we've answered that question because we say it's good for you to diversify, right? Do you have a comment on that?
I do. Yeah. I do. So there's different options, and I'd say diversify for sure. So you can actually open an individual pension account where you save towards retirement, and you can do that with an insurance company. But before you go to the insurance company, I would advise that you speak to these guys called pension administrators. We have several. We have people like Zamara, we have people like Octagon, we have people like N-Wealth, who are really, really good because they'll not sell you a product. They will educate you on the different options that are available and tell you, okay, you can choose between these four based on their terms, their fees, their the history, and sit with them, explain to them where your circumstances are, and then they'll tell you what the options are, and you will then end up with the best solution, and then they can introduce you to the insurance company that you can potentially go with. Then open the account and start to contribute towards it. And then the reason I'm insisting on pension accounts is because there's a tax advantage. Did you know that you don't pay tax on that money? Yes. So if you invest in real estate and you're getting rental income, you pay tax on that income. But for your pension account, when you're withdrawing, there's no tax. And there's also a tax relief on your salary because you have a pension account. So you pay less tax on your salary because you get a tax relief up to 20,000 shillings.
Wow.
Yes. If you're contributing to a pension. So there's advantages of investing in those accounts long term.
Wow, that's interesting. Let me ask one more question. I actually had questions that I had put down for myself. There's so many. Looks like we'll not end up answering them all. So there was a question that is underlined as well by another person. It says this, between a SACCO and money market fund, which is better as a savings mechanism? So again, it depends. and again, that's why we did this course, so that people can figure out what works for what purpose, right? So everything, all the assets that you have a purpose. So a SACCO serves a different purpose from a money market fund. You see, with a SACCO, you save. By the way, SACCOs can be quite fantastic because you're able to save and you have an investment. You buy shares in the SACCO and you're able to earn dividends from the SACCO. And then you have savings that also earn an interest, and you can then borrow 3 times what you've saved. Absolutely.
So it helps you when you want to borrow money towards certain projects, investments. I mean, not to buy a car or to go on holiday, but to be able to invest in other assets. I think it's a great place to do that. So it just depends what is it that you want to achieve with being able to do these different things. And it's important to diversify. So yes, have the SACCO, yes, have the money market fund, yes. It's not an either or. You need all these different things to serve different purposes in your portfolio.
Great. I mean, I'm trying to sieve through all these comments. Somebody asked this question, can a 50-year-old join your course?
Absolutely. Even a 70-year-old, they will learn something. Absolutely. In fact, a 50-year-old would be awesome.
Ronald Wekesa Wafula says we need to talk. I think there's a way they can reach to you.
Yes, that number again.
Same number, right?
That same number, 011.
011-244-0122.
There we go.
At least I got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very many comments about your book.
Or email me, sema@moneywise. Moneywise, one word, .co.ke. sema@moneywise.co.ke.
So many comments about how people have benefited from your information that you've given. I may not even have time to read them all. But I think I wanted to ask just another question here. I think I've seen 2 questions on that about cryptocurrencies. So the question was, what's your advice? What advice would you give on cryptocurrencies?
Yeah. So do you
There you
remember?
go.
Do you remember what I said about knowing what every asset is doing in your portfolio? So cryptocurrencies are one of those things that can cause you to make significant wealth.
Some people have made a lot of money.
Do you know that Bitcoin? There's
Yes.
many cryptocurrencies. There's
Yes.
Ethereum. There are many.
Yeah.
Bitcoin in the last 1 year has gained at least 260%. I'm telling you. So, but there's also risk because I invested in Bitcoin.
Oh, you did?
I did. And do you know what happened?
Yeah. Okay, can I first of all tell, please, the fans, stop calling her now. She'll respond after. So later on,
The
go
phone
ahead.
is ringing. You can lose money. Again, you remember what I said? There's a trade-off.
Yes.
There's high returns, usually come with high risk.
Yeah.
The thing about cryptocurrencies is that the reality is we are actually moving and growing in the tech space. And blockchain technology is going to continually be very important in the way that we transact, right? And I won't get into that. In fact, I've got content on my YouTube page on crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain.
Wow.
There's an interview I did several years ago that is really helpful in helping people figure out, okay, so what does this mean? What is Bitcoin? How does it work? And just understanding how that whole process works.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that we, I feel, are still in the infancy stage of cryptocurrency, which is fine and creates opportunity.
Yeah.
And so it's good to be careful about how much money you then end up putting in it. But if you have money that you can put towards it, that if you lost, you will not panic. Imagine it's okay to put money in it, cryptocurrency. Just do your research and investigate the different currencies that are available and just buy the currency. What I would say do not do is please don't invest in a multi-level marketing scheme where it's a company that has come and said, you know, you need to come, buy Bitcoin, a machine, and then it will make many more other Bitcoins, and then you can invest, I mean, you can sign others on, and when you sign others on, you earn, I don't know what. Those complicated things, I'd say, leave them alone. Just buy the coin. Just buy the coin and put in money that if you lost, it's okay. And the beauty about crypto is that you can buy a fraction of a coin, which means even with 5,000 shillings or even 2,000 bob, you can actually buy. Yeah.
You know, you've just mentioned something that people need to watch on. Multi-level, that's what you call them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I have friends who had even tried to recruit me into one. I don't want to mention because I don't want to be told that I have done some defamation. But people lost money. People lost a lot of money on that. So I don't know what to do because honestly, Rina, we have about 5 minutes to go. But I just want to encourage people that, keep your questions on. We'll still answer them, some of them, even later on when we're offline. Paul Mwago says this, that with pension benefits, there is taxation if you draw before the age of 65.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's actually more brutal.
But the idea is to wait until retirement, right? That's the purpose of the account. And so wait until retirement and then there's no tax.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So John Mureu, I think you're saying great insights there. How safe is it to invest money in cryptocurrency? I think we've answered that.
Yes, we have.
So I think there are those things that you need to check on. There's another one by Collins again. He says, I lost my money with Britam. I didn't know about the policy very well. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I know Britam has a good reputation, so I think you want to talk to them, I think, at some point.
No, so what happens, do you remember what you talked about earlier?
Yes.
Where you get into a product without fully understanding what that product is.
Yeah.
And so in fact, it was just the other day, there was a thread on Twitter where this person said that they lost money, also with Britam. But it's really an understanding of what am I signing up for. Please read those policy documents. Take time to read and understand what you're signing up for. Because an insurance policy, particularly an endowment fund, the truth is that for the first 3 years, you don't make money. You're paying for it. There's a cost of insurance that is there. And so as I said earlier, if you do not continue putting the contributions that you committed to and signed for. Like if you signed, I'm going to contribute 15,000 every month towards this policy. And after a few years, less than 3 or a few months, you stop contributing, you lose everything. And it's black and white in those documents. But do you know what happens? We are I think we're I don't know whether to call it auditory culture, where I don't want to read all those things. What do I need to know? Just tell me.
Summarize
those
for
are
me.
many stories. Just tell me, that's a mistake.
You
need to read. understand
Yeah.
that policy document you're signing. What has it said? I know it's in font 2 size, right?
Yes.
But please understand what you're signing up for. And if you don't understand the language, sit with somebody who is not that agent to understand what am I really signing up for.
Yeah.
Because they're different products. These insurance companies have products that are fantastic for the purpose for which they were meant for.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to save for retirement and you end up with a life policy, what are you doing? You need to open a pension account, not a life insurance policy. Okay. Or if you want to save for short term and then you end up getting an endowment policy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You need to sign up for a money market fund and not a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an issue of not understanding what you're signing up for. And these are the things we talk about on this course as well, Maina.
Okay.
Imagine, as I said, in 2021, commit to invest in yourself and in your financial IQ so that as you make decisions, we don't have time. You lose every year that passes, we're losing time.
Wow.
We're losing time for you to grow your wealth and to take advantage of compound interest. So invest in understanding these things, and as you do that, then you make decisions that, you know, you're kind of just growing every year after
And don't
that.
be lazy.
And
I think
don't be
that's
lazy.
the underlining part.
Don't be lazy.
Don't be
Read.
lazy.
Yeah.
You know, I really appreciate all the comments that have come across, and I know we will respond to every question that was asked. But Rina, I want to just, of course, selfishly as well, ask you 2 questions, then we can close.
Make them easy.
One of it is this. You know, you mentioned one of the investment platforms being the stock market. I have to confess that at first, it appeared to me very elitist. And maybe to most of the people who are watching as well, it looks like it's for the few who understand these jargons. Because the business news that we brought just shows some crazy numbers, things going up and down, and then whoop.
And then the language is also not easy.
Yes, and now that you are at the heart of it, can you simplify this for the people?
It's so simple. Imagine, it's the simplest thing ever. Like my 4-year-old yesterday asked me, what is a share? And we had a conversation. I was like, oh, it's a small ownership or part ownership in a business. Okay. That's a share, right? Yeah. Your company is called Frontlight Media.
Absolutely.
If I invested in your business and I got shares, I'm an investor in your business and I have shares in your business.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Wow.
A part ownership in a company.
Okay.
Now, there are some companies that are listed. And all that means is that they're put in a market that enables us to buy and sell, like we go buy fruits and vegetables in a market, right? So in the same way, there are some companies that are listed, like Frontlight Media is not listed, and so if I want to sell my shares, I have to negotiate with Maina again. Now, Maina, I need money. Can I sell you my shares, or can I look for another investor to buy my shares?
True that.
But the ones that are listed make it possible for me to sell my shares fairly quickly to some other investor without even knowing who they are, because there's a market where I can sell my shares at whatever price is listed in that market. Okay. And so the stock market is that market where I can sell shares or buy shares easily with the money that I have. Now, it is not elitist, far from it. In fact, it's the easiest investment to get into. Why? Because once you open an account, all you need to do is buy shares that are 100 shares of any company. Yeah. The minimum investment that you need is 100 shares. 100. Cop Bank is at 12 bob.
Okay.
All right?
1,200, you're good there.
1250.
Okay. Yes.
1,200 plus.
You're a shareholder.
You're a shareholder. With 2,000 bob at the most, I can buy 100 shares of Cop Bank. Okay. Really? 2,000. Someone will go this weekend and buy lunch somewhere for themselves and someone else and spend that amount of money. So it's not elitist.
All right. I would want you to end it there because I know there's a whole conversation, and I will call you again. We need to talk about shares because some people will start asking many other questions about shares and all that. I had said I have 2 questions, and this one I saw, it was a headline yesterday on the Business Daily. Okay. Let me read it for you. It was, "Rich Kenyans triple dollar deposits in pandemic era." Rich people investing in dollars. Yeah. There's something they know that we don't know, and I want everybody who's watching to get to know. And that's why they're rich, my friend. That's why they're rich.
That's why they're rich.
Yeah, especially with how the shilling sometimes has been just jumping up and down. Yeah. It's actually down. But what's your comment on that?
You know, in 2016.
Yeah.
No, actually, it was earlier than that. When I wrote my book.
Yeah.
I did some research and I looked at all the African currencies, all of them. Wow. And every single one of them, in the 6 years that I did my research, had dropped against hard currencies. And the hard currency that I focused on was the dollar.
What's the dollar?
And in that 6 years, the currency that dropped the least was the Kenya shilling. And do you know what it had dropped by? 30%.
And that's the least.
The least. There was double digits. There was 80%. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, don't mention Zimbabwe. I know it was another thing.
By the way, I ignored Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I looked at Nigeria, South Africa, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya. I mean, you name it, Zambia. I looked at all of them.
Yeah.
And they all had depreciated.
Wow.
What does that tell you? As long as you are in an emerging economy, okay, with inconsistent government policies, and after every 5 years, somebody else comes in and has a different perspective and a different focus and a different, then it means that we have inconsistencies and we have cycles of 5 years. And so what happens is that you then find that the currencies continually depreciate. We have political uncertainty, we have economic uncertainty, we have investors who are constantly afraid, okay, let me move my money overseas because I'm not too sure how this is going to go. And so because of that, you find that our currencies continually depreciate. If you put $100 in your drawer in January 2020, today you would have 110 without having done anything.
Absolutely.
You've not put it in a bank to earn any interest.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Just within those few months.
Yes, that is why they do that.
So some people who have invested some good cash in the dollar accounts now are happy and smiling. So I should open one. Goodness Lord, it's 9 and this conversation is supposed to be an hour, and we want, because business people need to keep time, we want to end it there. But before I end, I want to really request you, because people are asking questions, how do I get in touch with Rina?
sema@moneywise.co.ke.
So sema@moneywise.co.ke, you got the email address there.
Yeah.
Is it? And that number that we shared, it's already on the comments.
Thank
So
you.
people can get that. And for all the questions that you've sent, we will definitely answer them, even if we haven't spoken about them right here.
Yeah.
Also, my other 10 questions were not answered, so you can tell we are all in the same boat. And Rina, you're so resourceful. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
And I
welcome.
think we need to have you more in these particular conversations. And thank you so much.
Subscribe to my channel.
We can
tell
say-
them they can find all
Please.
those answers that they questions answered
Yes.
on my channel, Moneywise with Rina Hicks on YouTube.
Subscribe, yes, absolutely.
Subscribe.
And of course, subscribe as well to Bizna TV.
Yes.
And of course, follow us on all the Facebook channels that you're seeing us from. The good thing about anything that is worth noting is to share it. So please make sure you click on that share button and leave some feedback for us. This has been the inaugural show, Biz Talks, right here on Bizna Kenya. Bizna TV as well.
Hosting
and of
Moneywise.
course, hosting Moneywise. There was a very nice concurrent thing as well. And even we were also live on all Moneywise platforms. So thank you so much for really joining us. I hope you've learned something. And if you have, at least leave a comment there. It makes us feel at least that we are not conversing by ourselves. Thank you so much. Get in touch with Rina as well. She's a coach, so she's open to be talked to. But keep it here, because we shall be having amazing guests who are going to enlighten us when it comes to matters, business and money as well. Thank you so much for your time. Let's get to work. Bye-bye. Now, everybody has a different story when it comes to building a business. To some, it's never an easy task to partake. And to some, they have very good stories of how they started from scratch and built their empires to profitability. And that's the reason why Bizna Kenya and MC Moments have partnered to bring you Biz Talks. Biz Talks. And here we shall be hosting mentors, people who have gone ahead of us, people who have created these empires, people who have also on the verge of creating these particular big businesses. And these lessons will be valuable for you, the business person, for you, the aspiring business person, the entrepreneur, so that at least you can make wise decisions when it comes to building that business. So every Friday at 8 a.m. on all business platforms, that's the Facebook and YouTube channel, and of course MC Moments.